There we go. We're on. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my second part of the Multidimensional Man. I've got an amazing guest tonight, a guy, Harry Thomas. So Harry, for those who don't know, was my mentor in Mindful Talent. He was assigned me, and I don't believe in coincidences, but definitely the journey he's been on, the journey I've been on, we were definitely aligned at the right time. So it was absolutely amazing to, get to know him, get to understand his ways, and just 2 seconds, I'm just going to add him in, and get to know him and just learn so much from him. And since then, it's been such an amazing journey. So I'm going to add him in, and we're going to get to know all about him. Here we go. But no, I'm so glad that he's coming on tonight, and he's on a roller coaster ride at the moment. So here he is, my man. How you doing?
You alright? Yeah, really well, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Oh, I can hear that nice hot air, man.
Yes, I'm 4 hours behind you, so it's still quite hot out here at the moment.
Nice. So how's things?
Yeah, really well, mate. I'm in Brazil now. I managed to get out here. I landed on Saturday, so I'm just kind of settling in, getting used to a whole new way of life. Yeah, it's completely different, so I'm loving it.
Class.
And you?
Good, mate. Yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming on and taking part of these lives. I think the main thing for me, the main focus for me is to get guys talking, get guys who are just trying to get themselves out there to live a more authentic life that means to them. And that's why I asked you, because you're actually doing that. You live in proof. And we'll come to the Brazil stuff in a minute and how you've managed to change up your way of thinking and your way of living. But tell me, and obviously anybody else who's watching, a bit about yourself, your background, and just a bit of your journey.
Yeah, well, cheers for having me on first, mate. And so my name's Harry. I'm from London, or was from London. Originally from the fitness background. So I've been a PT for about 15 years. Had 2 gyms in London, personal training studios. We opened that back in 2009. And then since then, it's kind of transformed into becoming a teacher. We train people to become personal trainers. And I got really involved with mentoring and teaching. And along that way, I learned a lot, obviously, running the business, meeting lots of people, working with different people. But got to a stage where I realized that I was coaching, or I thought I was coaching, and it was always a lot more than fitness. Like within the conversations with my clients, I was always looking at things happening in their life, always things looking at stuff that's holding them back, always talking about self-development. And I got to a point in my life where coaching kind of found me, and I kind of took it to the next level from there. And I haven't looked back since.
So I take it you've had a few hard decisions and, changing over to the coaching and moving away from the fitness stuff. How's that all went?
It's only been just recently, like after 12 years, I was out over here for Christmas, and it really hit home. Like COVID really affected us due to all the lockdowns, and we couldn't really run it as we'd like to. And just in that time, I didn't really have as much fight and as much passion as what I've had for the last years, because I'm doing the coaching now, and I love working with clients. You're now stepping into this game as well, and it's having conversations with people and seeing like a big change and seeing the impact that it has on their lives and then their friends' lives and their families' life. Yeah, it's really powerful. And I think the more I started doing it, the more getting lit up every time. The more I didn't do it, I realized that I needed it in my life. And the more I started finding that, it was like, that was my truth now. And everything else I was doing that wasn't serving me, I had no passion for it. It's like it was almost like it was holding me back. And I was kind of being honest with myself and honest with the people around me. And that time I was like, right, I'm going to make a decision now and do this full time. Yeah,
mate, that's class. And it's, I've obviously been coached by you, and, we've done a few projects together, but being in that environment of coaching and, watching other people, come through all different processes. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down, but that non-judgment, all about progression, feeling your way through all that kind of stuff. It is addictive. It can become, like when I'm obviously still in between the times of, you know, doing the construction and doing the coaching. When I'm in the coaching, I'm like up and jumping, and then when I'm on the roof and I'm like walking about like this, like listening to that energy, and listening to what, you know, what I'm following and stuff, and it's stepping in with confidence. And you know, I think that when you meet other coaches, you know, like yourself, and you've had people that have helped you step in, and it's that long line. It's like a lineage of like people that are there, like ready for you. Like when you're ready, the teacher will appear. So what's going on now? Where are you at, and what's the plan?
Yeah, so move to Brazil. I'm going to be based out in South America initially. The beauty of what we do now, especially with the COVID, it kind of just justified that we can do this anywhere around the world. So the aim is to continue growing my coaching practice. I've got a product that I'm launching very soon, which you've experienced some of the concepts throughout that Think Future Feel Now. And I'm going into the corporate space as well. So I'm working with some people back home. Yeah, and just see where it takes me. I think for me now, I was saying earlier that it's the first time in 10 years where I've been away, especially this part of the world where I'm behind. And normally I'd wake up, I know my phone's just going to go dun, 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 and I don't know what to expect. It could be good news, bad news, like something that I have to deal with. But that dread of 2 o'clock in the morning, I didn't have that. It's like literally completely gone. It was a new experience, and you just, I think I call that stress, I guess, but it's normal. Like you don't realize that is a stress. So we carry all these things with us in life, and we just think that's normal. That's life, as people say. I've been waking up every morning and I just feel free. I guess that's the right word. I feel free. So I think it's just given me a platform now to really push on, because I'm doing what I want to, and I feel that there's no responsibility of other people that usually there would be. And I think it's been a revelation, I guess is a good word to use for that one. And I think it's really now going to help me excel and just start really just deciding, let me just do the things that I want to do, because that does light me up. It does get me a lot more energized. And again, I can help more people whilst doing that.
Amazing, man. And thanks for sharing. And you'd mentioned about Think Future Feel Now. Tell us more about that. What's the concept behind that?
But let me ask you that question. Like, how would you describe it? Because this is the thing that I realized as well, is that I can sell myself and I can sell products all the time, and everyone can sell their own product. But the real power, I think, is when other people experience it. So it'd be good. How would you sum it up?
Well, you're making me think already. Think future, so already you're making me think, right? And I think obviously we all want that best future. We all want that future life, that you know, attracting the good stuff. And it doesn't always work. You know, maybe sometimes it's because they're working. I think that's when it comes to the feel now. You've got to feel your way through what's really going on in your current reality, and probably get realistic with what's going on, and try and make good, sound, solid decisions towards that future that you want. That's kind of how I see it and how I'm trying to use it.
I'll add on to that as well, because it is like we all want things in life, and we meet people. Like I worked in the gym, I want to lose weight, and I want to go here, and I want to. So we all have these dreams, these aspirations, but half the time we don't believe that we can do it, or we don't think we're capable of doing that. And I think what the Think Future Feel Now concept allows people to do is really get out of their head. If you think about the things that we want, usually that comes with a feeling after. So I'll quickly sum it up. We've got past, present, future. And we're always told, be present, be in the now. But there's a problem with that, because if I am stressed and I'm telling you, be present, be here, and I'm like, I'm still stressed. So I need to look at it from two perspectives. One's thought and one's feeling. Your feeling's a true present moment, because I think about my past, which is already gone, but that feeling, that worry, that's now. I worry about my future and it hasn't even happened yet, but that worry, that stress is still inside me now. So I help people come back to their feelings, because that is the true present moment. And there's two parts to that. The first thing, as humans, we don't like to express our feelings because we worry about what people think. And the second thing is that we have so much chaos going on, all this noise, all these distractions, all these thoughts, that we don't hear our gut feeling. So the Think Future Feel Now is it clears the space so you can actually hear that gut feeling. I'd call that your intuition, and we could go even more spiritual, that would be your soul. And if we take that notion then, if we don't know our future, it hasn't happened yet, so we can worry about it. But there's an opposite. We can get excited about it, like our dream life, the life we deserve. But the problem is, we don't know many people that live that life. We don't know many people that are happy and live that life. And we don't know how to get there or what it looks like. So this is where creativity comes in. When you close your eyes, literally nothing's real at all. It's just your imagination. So I get you to think future, but you feel every moment of it right now. And then you just start going through life with this, because it's a feeling, like I said, that's truth. You felt it's real. And all of a sudden there's a belief attached to it. And that's when, as a coaches, we can start working back because they felt it. And that's the one thing that I'd encourage most people. When people ask you what you think, respond of how you feel. No one can argue with your feelings. They can all disagree with your opinions, which is fine, but they can't argue with how you feel. So I always encourage people to speak your feelings, because usually, oh, do you want to come out tonight, mate? Oh, I might do, I'll try to. No, I'm not coming out tonight, mate. I really don't feel like it. I don't feel great today. You'll see, like, just by expressing a feeling, be honest, their reaction will be a lot different to what you're expecting. So it helps people reconnect to that feeling. And as you know, when you start listening to that gut feeling, normally your choice is a lot more, I'd say, the correct ones, or they feel correct at the time.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. And, you know, it's such a big insight and a lot of information to take in. And I think that the way that you worked with me is that you broke it down in ways for me to understand a bit better. You know, what I'm obviously hearing is, you know, that creative space as well is important, but being honest with how you actually feel. And if I'm honest, mate, it's something that I've not always been honest with how I've felt. I've actually played a role of what I think other people want from me rather than actually being honest, and lost myself so many times in that process. Whereas now I'm actually stepping more into, right, I don't feel that this is right for me and I'm following it. I'm feeling a bit of a, energy-wise, was that the right decision? But energy-wise, maybe, is it my energy? Is it their energy? But I'm feeling it. I'm feeling my way through it and being like, nah, you're on a path. This is what feels good. Keep following what's feeling good. Because if that's feeling a bit bad, then you've made the right decision by not pursuing it. So it's very much a process. It takes time. And something massive that I learned from you, and I'd love you to share, was the language that we use and how we think distance. Talk to me more about that.
Yeah, so there's something I'm really, really particular on now. And as a coach, or just as human beings, if we listened and paid attention to the language that other people use first, but then also the words that come out of your mouth, like the language we use is your truth. So let's give an example. You wake up in the morning and I say, how are you? You say, I am. Anything with I am followed by becomes truth. Imagine you're inside your body. They're all little soldiers. Like, all your body works for you. And you know your body works for you because when you cut yourself, all your soldiers go and fix it, right? Without you thinking about it. So imagine that your words are your command. You're the sergeant. So you say, oh, I am tired. Your soldiers are like, let's go sleep. Let's go sleep. So you stay tired until you say, I am something else. But working with clients and it's interesting actually how negative we are from the language. We're not realizing it. So I'm pulling people up. I'm stressed. I'm hungover. I feel shit. I'm ill. That becomes your truth. So even if you're not feeling it, tell your body that you was feeling that. And now I'm getting better. I am healing. I am. And the more you can start doing that, and you just correct it. And other things, might, hope, want, try, hopefully, potentially. These are all words that they're not confirmation. So when people want to make changes, which we all do, there's a fear attached to it. So I want to lose weight. I'm going to try to do this. I might do that. it means you're not ready for it yet. Or you are, you're just, something's holding you back. I pull people up on that. I say, you want to? Why can't you just start now? I will. And you'll see that as soon as you start saying, I will, that means you're going to do it. Because if you don't, you're lying to your soul. And when you don't want to do something then, because you're so true to your words, it allows you to say no, which I think is one of the most difficult things to do. So you get to the stage where you become so truthful with your words that you will only say, I will, when I'm going to do it. Not, I'll try to do it. Because any salesperson says, oh, I'll try, they're not going to do it. Call them out on it. And then if you don't want to do it, just say.
No. Sorry guys, we might have lost him. I'm not sure what's happening your end, but he is in Brazil, so I'm not sure if we've lost him. I'm going to keep talking anyway, just until he comes back, and hopefully he comes back. But you know, talking about the language, Harry really had me stuck in my head about how I started to use my language throughout the course, and he would constantly question, you know, these things that I was saying about myself. And it was quite funny how much I says, yeah, I was going to do that, or yeah, I might do that next week, or and all that kind of stuff. And he would start questioning it and start, like, you know, putting it to the side a wee bit. And then the minute they would put it back on me, I would be, before I was about to speak, I would actually think about what I'm going to say, and then I'll be able to speak the truth. I would actually be able to tell what I was actually going to do. What I was actually going to do. See, I'm still caught up in it, and it's funny because there's so many different words that have different meaning. And there was a word that, take the word problem, for instance, right? And I was thinking about this earlier. If you've got problem in your life, or you're always thinking about the problems of things, right? That's your problems. Like my problems, they're mine. So they're not external. They're not anybody else's problems. They're my problems, because they're only me that's thinking about it and talking about it. And if you actually shorten the word problem, it actually goes to pro, which would mean that you're for something, and then blame, pro, blame. You're actually blaming. I've just had a message from Harry saying his phone's overheated. But you're actually blaming things in your external world. You're pro-blame. You're finding problems and stopping yourself moving forward. And it's something that, you know, it dawned on me, being like, wow, any problems I've got, I'm actually not taking accountability for the stuff that's not working in my life. And I'm always looking at the externals as a problem, as a stumbling block. You know, and this is where things like your fear, or, you know, your ego start getting in the way, because you think, I don't have any problems. It's not me. It's always outside. And it's the complete other way. If you're feeling unrest about something, it's definitely you. And for me, it's something I've had to come up against a lot, is taking responsibility for any problems that I have and trying to find the solutions rather than blaming other things. But yeah, that's just a wee insight that I've had earlier on today, and I just really want to share it. Harry has been invited back on, and I think he should be joining us any second. So I've got a message here. I am a Virgo. I love language and words. Maybe too much. Love it. Love it. Right, he's back, and we're waiting any second now. But yep, here he comes. His phone's overheated, so hopefully we'll get back on the thing. I've got a few more questions for him. We can try and pick his brain about it, and, you know, listening to what he was saying about, you know, following, you know, your soul, your intuition, following what feels right. Following what feels right for you isn't always the easiest thing to do. It's not always the route one. Sometimes the easiest thing to do is just to go with the flow, is just to, you know, a lot of what I've done is, you know, people please, just say yes and agree to everything, even though it's not what you want to do. And then later on down the line, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel right, or this isn't for me. It's because you didn't stay true to yourself. You know, we're all learning these things, and we'll all start to tap more into what we really want and what we want for ourselves and for our futures. But it's just something to think about. You know, we're all at different stages in our journey and nobody's got all the answers. But something that I'm finding, especially with this multidimensional man, and you know what I'm trying to achieve with, you know, getting men more focused towards men to, you know, open up and speak out about what's really coming up for them, and giving them, you know, that space to have some insights and to maybe heal some blocks or some places that need to be addressed. And this is why and this is why I'm, you know, I'm trying to get guys like Harry on, and you know, people. Sorry guys, just going to invite Harry back on. But yeah, how do I? I'm not sure. Does anybody know how I can invite Harry on this? Can Harry request? Oh, here we go. Send request. Boom. And I've turned the camera around. There we go.
Right. Right, that's a new one for me. My phone overheated. I've got to get used to this climate out here, so apologise for the background at the moment.
Nice balcony view. Okay. that was a conversation, mate. That was the insights you were given. Blew up. Glad you're back. I'm glad you're back. So, where were we?
So just saying about the words that hope might potentially, maybe, and when we say I will, that's a command to your body, but also to yourself. And I think the more you start doing that, I always say you take back your power. And I am so confident now because I know what I'm doing. I love doing it. And what I've realized is that because I'm on this path, you're on this path, not everyone, especially the closest to me, they're not on the same path. And they don't agree with some of the things. And before I would have been like, oh, okay, I'm trying to make everyone happy and stuff. And it didn't feel right for me. So now it's like, this is what I'm doing. And no, I'm not doing that. And I'm okay with that now. And I think that's the beauty of your words, is that you're more truthful to yourself. And the more true you are with your words, you have no stress. The only time you have stress is when you lie or you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it. And then it catches up with you after. And the last year, I've noticed a huge difference just in my energy and stuff. And I put that down to the words. So yeah, words are incredible because you can hear when people are in pain and suffering. You can hear when people are lying. You can tell when people love what they do. Like literally, I ask people now, or people ask me, what do you do? If anyone asks you, by the way, don't answer what you do. Tell them I love what I do. And then they're like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a coach. And then all of a sudden, I say, oh, do you like what you do? We're on the same playing field again because we always judge people on their work. But let's say that you worked in Tesco's and we're all Tesco's, but that person loves what they do. You can't argue with it. So again, come back to feelings, come back to words. They all play a part.
Mate, it's such a big thing, and it's catching it for me when, like I was explaining when you went off, was that it's catching what you say. You kept catching what I was saying, but then I would then start to think about what I was going to say before I said it, and then I'll be more true to myself and being like, well, am I going to follow through with that? Am I doing that? Can I do that? So you started to give an actual proper answer just by thinking more about what I was going to say rather than just saying what came out.
First session as well, that happens every time. You call someone out on it, and this is another powerful insight for people. When people notice something about you that you didn't even notice yourself, you pay attention. And usually the people that rub you up the wrong way, or the people you hate, it's usually because they tell you stuff about you that deep down you know is true. And and that was a powerful thing. What I love in coaching is I've called people out on it now. Like, if you really want to change, you can start right away. Like, you're not there yet, that's fine. Your past don't define you. We're not here yet, but start now.
Yeah. And I'm just going to come back to something you said, right? Because people that are starting, and like what you're saying, this is what I'm doing now, I'm going to go, and it might rub people up the wrong way or anything like that. What advice would you give to people that are starting, and they are starting to have that wobble? They are starting to have that, oh my God, my life's this reality, what's going on? What advice would you have for those people?
Have time to yourself. So meditation, I don't like the word because there's a stigma around it, but take some time out for yourself, no distractions, just silent you sitting there. Because what happens, first of all these thoughts and the ego and your friends' opinions and what they've said and stuff, all that will be there. The more you can just sit with that, because they're thoughts, they're not true, after a while, then you'll start getting the real feelings. So at that point, if you're unsure or you're uncertain, but you know there's something out there, the more time you give for yourself, the more then you start realizing, okay, this is the right decision. And if it's not, there's more questions that you can to answer now. Like you can go and explore that a tiny bit more. So I would say that's one. Ask yourself some questions. Like the amount of time, questions unlock everything, but half the time we don't ask ourselves questions. Why am I feeling like this? Why do I want to do it? What is the reasons? What am I good at? These sort of things. And then write it down. And all of a sudden there'll be these little pockets of golden nuggets that you didn't even know was there. And that can make you move forwards. And then next one is that if you are changing, the people around you and stuff, they're not maybe ready to change, but there's a million other people like Mindful Talent Tribe. How amazing are the people in this? All on the same journey, all looking to it. So I'd say they're your friends and they're always going to be your friends. That's great. Stay that way. Your family, same. Go and meet other people on the same journey as you, because all of a sudden it'll reinforce that actually you're not the weird one. You're not the one with, or maybe I'm making the wrong decision, because they're all doing it. And then like I use Ali as an example. He seems happy, he has a game plan, and he does what he says. And I'm following suit with that now as well. So it's the stories from others, which gives you more motivation. It gives you belief because you can see it's been done. And then when you hear, oh, actually, that was easy. And you're really happy. So, yeah, listen to stories, keep learning, take some time out for yourself, and ask yourself questions.
Mate, that's class. That's great info there, man. So I want to bring back a conversation we had a couple of months back, maybe not quite a couple of months, but the word vulnerability, right?
I knew that's coming.
Right, vulnerability. Is it a strength or is it a weakness? Talk to me.
Okay, so again, my opinion, this is how I feel about it, and I think people would at least think. So the word vulnerability, it's okay to be vulnerable, and this is what we encourage quite a lot, right? I agree, but I don't see it as vulnerability. I see it as a strength. So the question I love to ask people, because I love this topic and I love hearing other people's opinion, what's the opposite of vulnerability? What would you say? Because we get different answers every time. This is. I think we had this conversation as well.
I turned it to be a long conversation.
So for me, vulnerability, I think vulnerability comes from the people watching him. I'm going, oh my God, he's being so vulnerable at the moment. Like that's. But yeah. the moment you say them words, for me, that's strength. It takes courage. It takes bravery to be able to say that. I don't think you're being vulnerable anymore. I think it's a vulnerable situation you can be in from other people looking in, but the fact you're saying this and actually stepping up to it, that for me is strength. And this is where I come to it. I always think you have a choice in life. And we've got the word human being. But I don't think that is the end of it. It's a human being. And then I'm going to ask you, what are you being right now? Are you a human being vulnerable? Or are you a human being strong? Like, what would you pick? And that was my kind of thing. So I don't think there's no room for this word. I just think that we play this character of being vulnerable. And I see people, their whole identity now is the vulnerable man, for example. And then it's kind of going into these dark places where I think you've been in them dark places and it takes courage and strength to go in there. But right now, I'm not being vulnerable anymore. I've surpassed that. So I think vulnerability is the initial stage, the thoughts. As soon as you step into your feeling and start speaking it, that for me is strength. So that was my take on vulnerability.
No, I mean, I do like that, and I like the way that you've explained that, because it opened my eyes a little bit, because I did a couple of times where I'd been vulnerable, and loads of people had said, wow, like, so brave, you're so vulnerable, so strong. And I seen it as a good thing, but then you were like, but you're not vulnerable all the time. Like, somebody who's elderly would be classed as vulnerable. They need to be looked after. So you got my mind changing a little bit, and I think that I feel personally a lot of men could, there's a lot of healing in a man being vulnerable. There's a lot of healing energetically for a lot of people around them when they become vulnerable within themselves, just for that couple of minutes. But then they come back to their normal selves again and their strength. And I love that, mate. I love that concept, and I like the way you put that. Thank you. So I had, you'd said as well, I could ask you anything, right? Mm-hmm. Ask anything. And you'd mentioned a couple of times about, you know, spirituality and stuff like that. And I wanted to ask you a question about spirituality, about the woo-woo side of it, but also where it ties in with religion and people who are religious but are becoming spiritual, and that balance or the off balance, because it's a mad topic that nobody really wants to talk about, and nobody wants to talk about God. Nobody wants to even say God or anything like that. Classes universe, you know, the vortex or whatever, the matrix, whatever it may be. But what would you say about people who are religious and they're becoming more spiritual, or vice versa?
I think the first thing, like spirituality, and by the way, I haven't always been this. So I've never been religious, never been woo-woo, like that was, but I've stepped into this now, and spirituality for me, like, let's just simplify. Spirituality just means strip things right down to the most simplest form. So spirituality is truth. And your truth is when you find it. We live our lives based on stories or based on what other people have said. And we spend most of our time like regurgitating it with anger, with aggression, and with a certainty, but we don't know. So for me, spirituality is finding your own truth. So we strip things right back. And then I can take it now down to an energetic level. Again, how I'm feeling. If that feels just, don't, you know, when you meet someone and it just don't feel right, that's not truth for me. Like, spirituality is like, it's like you're trying to go up a river and there's all this resistance because the river's going down. Spirituality is going with the flow and then just enjoying the moment whilst you're there. So with the religion, I think spirituality was truth, first of all. And we could like manifest whatever we put our mind to. And I think then the people then had to put their own take on it. So marketing. And again, guys, religious people, I'm not saying like it's wrong. I'm just saying this is the insights that I get and what I feel. The religion is the second phase. So it's like, right, an easy way to explain. As example, God, I always thought was a man. It was just a man that we're praying to, whereas now God for me is every bit of energy that we're ever in. That's God, and we have we can tap into it any time. So let me give you an example of energy. For example, we have this magic source. Like there's a pulse to the earth. Our plants in our front room, they just grow. How? Like that's energy. So if the energy is on your plant, is also on us as well. So I think that it's space. It's difficult to explain, but I think when we go into religion, it's someone else's interpretation of it. And we're then believing a story. But like, for example, the word God, like what does God mean to people? Like, how do you know there's a God? It's a feeling. It's like, I felt a connection with God. That's what people would say. I can't argue with that feeling. That's what you felt. It's like when people sing ghosts. They saw it, like, nah, that's bullshit, that's rubbish. They felt it, that's their truth. And that's the thing, coming back to your feelings, that all this woo-woo stuff, because it's not physical, and like, for example, the numbers that we talk about sometimes, or synchronicity, that happened. It was real as it can be. I felt it. Like for everyone else, they've never had that before, so it's woo-woo. That's my truth. So spirituality is my feelings, my truth, but not denying it then. And again, coming back to the words that we use, when all these things happen, like when synchron, oh my God, that was so unreal. That was unbelievable. That was mad. That was crazy. That's denying everything you just said by the words it was saying. It was real. It was true. That's what I felt. So again, it's coming back to your experiences and what it felt for you. And when you say that feeling, being okay with it. That's the problem is our society now is that we're not allowed to talk about this stuff because you do seem a bit nuts and that's magical. Like, that can't happen. But some of these things do. And the more now I'm starting to be open to it and the more I'm looking out for it, the more you've seen some of the things that I send you. Like, there's some of the insights that I get now because now I believe in it, like really believe in it. And again, I don't like to preach. Whereas religion is, let me tell you my story and let me tell you what is truth. Spirituality is my truth. And when people ask, I'll tell them. But I don't need to go and now, not the woo-woo stuff. I don't need to say that unless it's on my spiritual page when I can. So I think it just allows people to be okay with themselves, be okay with their experiences, and just know that that's what you felt. That's it.
That's class, man. I love that, and it's giving everybody that your own journey. This is your path. What you're seeing is true to you. Follow that, and don't let anybody else from the external come in and knock you off that because you know it to be true. It's like this morning, I was listening to a video about stepping on eggshells. This girl that I follow on YouTube, I listened to her, and she was talking about stepping on eggshells. My phone's in my pocket, and she's talking about the actual part of the video that she's saying eggshells. Next minute, Steph's frying an egg, and she just starts shouting out, eggshell, there's an eggshell, there's an eggshell. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. And then I done exactly what you said. I said, that's crazy. That's mental. I just completely denied it. And then I was looking up to the sky and Steph was like, no way, man. I mean, completely denied that moment, eh? Oh,
and this is the thing that I'm going to encourage people because, so I believe whatever you ask for does come true in a way. But the moment it doesn't come true is when you have that little voice, I can't, not for me, or I can't do that. That's denying it again. It's to be, the one thing that you can't ever know is when. Because there's no concept of time. So you say, I want something, but I want is the wrong word because it shows that you lack it. And all you're going to be presented with is more of I want. That's almost there. So it's to start testing it. And again, I always say just before bed, just ask for something, ask a question, and just know that the answer is going to come to you. Like, try to spot that little voice, that negative thing, like, oh, come on. Just ask a question, and especially the more you get used to it, you get the insights, you get that knowing of what to do next.
Mate, you're so true, man, and it's something I try and follow on the daily. It's trying to decipher what the right thing is, and
let me share a woo-woo one with you because I've got it all recorded. I went to Hawaii a few years ago, and there's a photo of me on top of the mountain, amazing star sky, and randomly as the photo was taken, it was pitch black, the brake light of a car just happened to be pressed, so I lit up red. So it's an amazing photo, my favorite one. And I posted it 2 years later, and I said, intention of the day, look out for a sign. And the whole day it was like 11:11 on my phone. It's like, okay, coincidence. And then all of a sudden I did my body fat test, and I remember doing it. It said 11, and I'm like, oh my God, checked it, 11.1. And then my friend texted me, and he said, Harry, you said look out for a sign. He said, I went for a bike ride, and a deer ran in front of me. He said, I've never seen that in my life. And I had emails at 11:11. I put a YouTube video on. It was 11 views in 11 hours. So I'm telling the girl that I liked the next day. And again, oh, come on, it's all stupid. I was like, how can I explain it? Like, it's happened. Here it is. We walked outside, and there's this amazing rainbow, like in the middle of London. It was just, I'm like, oh, there's a sign. And that the whole weekend, and I've got it all documented. There was a lot more that happened within that as well. But little things like that, the intention was look out for a sign, and there was loads of them. And it's awareness to it. So when we're goal setting and stuff, and this is another thing that I've realized with working with people, we're not specific enough in terms of what we want. I want a Ferrari, or I didn't get a Ferrari. But he wasn't specific. Is it a brand new one? Is it a toy one? Is it a broken one? Is it a part of a Ferrari? There's mostly all this being shown to you, but you're not paying attention because that's not what you asked for. So if you then be more specific, I want a Ferrari from 2019. It's got leather seats. It's got this. It's got that. And I've seen this time and time again from all the books that I'm reading now of goal setting, being specific with it, because the more you know what you want, the more you'll go and find it. You'll hear the conversation. You'll see the advert in the window. You'll see something right there in front of you because you asked for it.
It's setting that time aside for yourself, isn't it? And being like, right, what is it that I actually want? Write it down. The pen is mightier than the sword, as they say. Write it into existence, man.
Mm-hmm. And also with the writing, so our body has all these feelings in there. And you got to think, where's anxiety? It's in my body. Where's happiness? In my body. Where's love? It's in my body, right? So I believe, and this is again woo-woo, but I love it. Imagine your body's a genie. And your genie makes anything come true. So what's inside there is going to manifest. So if you've got that stress in there and you haven't dealt with it, that's just going to keep annoying you. So pull it out and just write it on a bit of paper. That's journaling. At least it's there. You're observing it now. It's not being a part of you. So keep what you want inside, love, happiness, and all the good stuff. And the things that are holding you back, just get it out, put it on a paper, and just deal with it after. But don't let it manifest inside you.
Mate, that's massive. That's massive, by the way, because I never really, obviously journaled in parts and stuff, but I never really thought of it as in like take that negative part out of your body, write it down, and then release it, so you don't carry that energy. That's a big one. Thanks for that, man.
And as a coach as well, like human beings have to go through pain, have to go through it. So as a coach now, I feel like I'm in such a good place, and yes, I'm going to be met with a lot of that still, but I'm going to be experiencing the pain from my clients. I'm going to be experiencing all the sadness and all the stuff. So I'm still experiencing it, but at least I can then help show them and make them realize they're in control of their feelings. They're in control of all their thoughts. They're in control of all of that. And it just allows people to detach from this horrible feeling that we get here to all of a sudden like, okay, all right, it's there now. Like, how am I going to deal with it? And again, this is where conversations are great, because you get to say it all. And when we speak, there's no judgment. You can say anything to me, I can say anything to you. And that's the way that we should start living our lives a bit more. I was saying, imagine a newspaper. It was just conversations. Like Dave and Mary had a conversation. What did they have a conversation about? Imagine that was a newspaper. It'd be much more enjoyable.
Actual positive conversation. So listen, thank you for all that, right? I've got a few quick fire questions for you, a bit of fun, right? Take the
the woo-woo out of it.
So, I think I know the answer to this one. I might have been daft writing it down, but chocolate or crisps?
Chocolate all day.
I knew that. I should have put that one in. Yes or no to Marmite?
Yes.
You like the Marmite, do you?
With cream cheese, mate. Oh, lovely.
Wow. We've got a Marmite fan, people. Greek mythology or Egyptian mythology?
I'd say Egyptian. I'd say, but yeah, even Egyptian, what we're told is not what it is. There's a lot more to it. Yeah.
And then the pyramids and all that kind of stuff, just, it's mind-boggling, isn't it? That's a rabbit hole. That is a rabbit hole.
That's my nickname, Rabbit Hole. I live in it.
Aquarius season's back. And the biggest aha light bulb moment that you've had, or you can recall, or one of them, probably a good few. You did share that one about the 11 or the signs. That was quite a big one, but you can find
the aha moment. Oh, I've had quite a lot of them. What did I say? I just think it's just being okay with like everything that you do, as long as you're doing it from a place of love. That question, like, what would love do? Or if you don't want to go down that route, what would my best self do? And just knowing that I'm always in control of everything that I do in my life. I'm always in control. Even if I'm born in a hole and it's got loads of water here, I have the choice to come up and just have faith that something's going to save you, or I can just give up. So it's having that choice, knowing that the words don't and can't and won't, that's, if I don't want to do it, yeah, I will say no, but I can do it. Like, if if I can't, people say I can't do that. Why? I haven't got the money. Well, have you asked someone to get the money? Have you did it? Like, if you believe in it that much, you'll make it happen. So I think it comes back down to that we always have choice.
Mate, right, 2 seconds, because I feel like you just jumped on to my next question. I asked the question in my mind as I was asking you that I happened when you heard me and answered the question. Because the next, what's your advice to anyone at the moment that might be a bit lost or stuck? And that would totally work.
Definitely.
So, listen, Harry, man, wow. I hope people had a notepad and pen for this one. So, thanks so much for coming on, mate, and taking the time. I know you're over there. Good luck with, the next part of your journey, mate. I'll be right alongside you. I want to know everything that's happening. I want to keep learning and passing anything that I can to you. So, just before we go, mate, if anybody that maybe hasn't seen this video yet and is going to watch it, or anybody that's watched it tonight, if anybody resonates with anything that Harry's saying, if you feel like connected or aligned with Harry in any way, reach out to Harry, get him on his Instagram. I'll be putting a post in this as well, so make sure that you reach out. I don't care if you come to me. I want you to get you on your path. If Harry's your man, get on him, all right? So, listen, brother, thanks so much. I really appreciate your time, mate. Good luck over there. And yeah, legend, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, man. And you say you want to hear about it. You're going to be part of the journey. Well, you are part of the journey anyway. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff together. And I think all it is about just spreading out like this. We can live this life. Like it's actually, again, we have the choice to do it. We can get up every day, start with the words that we say. I'm having a great day. I'm feeling great. That starts it off. Whatever comes your way after, at least you're prepared for it to come. And then the more you start listening to other people's stories. So last one then. If you want to change, that means you have to do something different. I would say go and write all your problems on YouTube and then put motivational video after. You'll end up getting Abraham Hicks, you'll get Wayne Dyer, you'll get Jim Rohn, you'll get people that have these stories. And what you'll start realizing is that, shit, that was a lot worse than mine. And look what they've done now. And that's the interesting thing. We want to change, but we don't do anything to it. It all starts with just going and doing something for yourself with it. So we're on this journey together as long as we keep spreading this. And it's exciting to see what is going to come. So thank you again, mate.
No, mate, honestly, another massive insight. And it's funny you say that because, I've been that guy that's been so caught up in my own story, not realising that there's other people that have endured and do endure so much worse every single day. So to not be grateful was a bit of a slap in the face, to be honest. So it's that daily reminder. And again, thanks for that, because you've just, again, reminded me. And the people that are watching this, it's like you say, go and get that help. It's out there. Typing it in, Safari, YouTube, mate, it's all there. And the information, it's overload at the moment, but it's there. It's accessible. So use it. Brother, thanks again, my man. Listen, go enjoy the rest of your night. Get the rest of that sun.
I'll be golden brown next time on the next live, mate.
Amazing, brother. Listen, all the best, and I'll speak to you soon, all right?
Yeah, brilliant. Cheers, Daryl. Take care, buddy.
Bye, man.
See you, man.